My name is Davar Ardalan, founder of IVOW AI. That stands for Intelligent Voices of Wisdom. We are all very honored to be joining you here today for this 2-hour workshop. We are going to begin this workshop with a video, so I think I'll just introduce myself, set it up, and then after the video, you'll be able to be joined live by several of my colleagues as well as our cultural technologists. We're here today to talk about building culturally aware intelligent agents. At IVOW in the past year, we have collaborated with cultural technologist Tracy Monteith, who is a senior software designer, software engineer based in Seattle. He is from the Eastern Band Cherokee heritage, and also Chamisa Edmo, who is of the Navajo Nation based in Albuquerque, New Mexico. She is also a math teacher and also worked as a conversational AI storyteller for Hanson Robotics. As we begin, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the video that you're about to see. We at IVOW AI are looking at really building a technology that becomes a useful tool for journalists, for reporters, for writers, for museums who are looking to share more about culture, historical events in a new and exciting way. Voice is a very dynamic medium, and we'll talk about that in a moment. We have a good 2 hours with you. So let's begin by watching this video. In this video, you will see some of the elements that come together for creating conversational AI through a cultural lens. Thank you. Hey Google, get me Sina Storyteller.
Getting the test version of Sina Storyteller.
Hello. My name is Sina. I am IVOW's digital storyteller. What would you like to learn about today?
Can AI be used to preserve cultural heritage?
It's similar to the way humans learn their heritage from the stories their parents and teachers tell them. Machines, like me, can also learn through stories. We just need to make those stories AI ready so I can access them and share them with everyone.
Hi, my name is Tracy Monteith. I'm a member of the Eastern Band of Cherokee and a senior software engineer at Microsoft. The reason we're here and in this zeitgeist moment of pandemic, that we come from very different places in the world, but we all share this common understanding that our stories from our families and from our ancestors are the most important part of our lives. And even though they're ancient, and we are sitting here in front of technology, helping to share those stories. The reason we wanted to do this, certainly one of the reasons, is because it is such an integral part of who we are. We're sharing our stories, our recipes, and our knowledge on how we live in a sustainable way for, in our case, thousands of years. So through this presentation, I hope you can understand that we're sharing this for the common good of all, and that we want you to take this and embrace it, and then think about how your stories resonate with you.
So the data itself, as you can see, is it's these stories and recipes that are from cultural sources. So they are, ginseng, from a story about ginseng from the Eastern Band Cherokee, or a recipe about mutton stew from the Navajo Nation. An interesting thing to bring in is, and this is something we've been looking at as part of our presentation, is these SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, which include some additional information, right? And this additional information is what we would call an ontology in natural language processing or artificial intelligence that helps to structure and order information. And so the intuitive structure that I see here, and the SDGs themselves are in red, the stories are in blue, the cultures are in this brownish color, the recipes are in this pinkish color. But the intuitive structure that I feel sort of arises as part of this ontology is, because these are all cultural stories and because they're all stories about food, they get centered around the zero hunger and sustainable cities and communities, which has a lot to do with sustaining culture. But they get centered around these two nodes in particular. But then you also see around the outside, you get these smaller little circles, right? You get these smaller clusters around, over here you have good health and well-being and industry and infrastructure. You have a small SDG here related to some of the Ataro Island stuff, life on land. For the Eastern Band Cherokee, the Iroquois, the Creek, the Chickasaw, they get clustered around clean water and sanitation, responsible consumption and production, quality education. And in addition, the storytelling agent Sina, which will be part of our demo, which is it works off of dialogue. It allows people to ask questions and get answers back. And even just in the demo, you can see that it allows sort of the traversal around this greater cycle of these subclusters that are separated by culture or separated, as cultures start to cluster around certain sustainable development goals.
I'd like to introduce ALVA, who is studied food and gastronomy, and from that has some really interesting lab that she runs.
Hi, thanks Tracy. I'm Alva Lynn, currently in Sydney, Australia, but we have the Timor-Leste Food Lab based in the small island nation of Timor-Leste. So I'm really excited about AI and how it can be used to preserve these amazing stories and these techniques, which are incredibly intelligent and complex, and as a digital platform to then be able to connect with existing platforms out there and bring it all together into a central repository. And now over to Chamisa in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yat Chamisa Edmo Yenishia, Twittergoja Nishle, Black Fin Shoshone Bannock Bashachin, Ashihi Dashache, Black Fin Shoshone Dashanala. I work as a developer and a technologist, and I'm privileged to be a part of this project. As a Diné woman, I've been told the importance of weaving and the power of traditional textiles and how they tell stories. With permission, open source and previously published data was collected from different cultures from around the world, and this resulted in a stunning and culturally informed data visualization that demonstrates how all of our cultures are interconnected. And now I'd like to pass it to Victor. He is our AI scientist. Victor.
All right. Thank you so much, Chamisa. Hey, I'm Victor Yarlett, currently in Miami, but originally from Montana and a descendant of the Crow tribe. I'm currently a PhD student in artificial intelligence and natural language processing at Florida International University, and I was previously a master's student at MIT. As a descendant of the Crow tribe, stories have always been a part of my life. I went to a Catholic school, and we grew up not only with biblical creation stories, but also with stories about how Old Man Coyote would create the world. And I brought that part of me to my work at MIT on broadening the cultural base of a story understanding system by enabling it to understand stories not just from the Eurocentric data set it had, but from my own tribe stories. And I continue to bring this into my ongoing work at FIU in automatically detecting culturally relevant narrative elements. The Indigenous knowledge graph is a step towards enabling work like mine by providing a central repository of culturally relevant narratives with tagged metadata. This lays a foundation for building intelligent agents that are more culturally aware by providing a source of data to develop, train, and test with. This is deeply important, not only for systems that interact with other people, such as conversational agents like Siri or our own Sina, but also for systems about people that analyze patterns in the data that people produce. People bring the cultural part of them to every aspect of their life, and whether interacting with or learning about them, intelligent systems need a resource like the Indigenous Knowledge Graph to be robust. And that's why I'm glad to be part of this project and to have incorporated the stories, the culture, and the knowledge of everyone on this project. And now I'm going to throw it to Davar Ardalan outside of Annapolis, Maryland, and she's with Sina.
Tell me about the Sustainable Development Goals.
The Sustainable Development Goals were created by the United Nations in 2015. There are 17 goals designed to make the future more sustainable for humans and Earth.
Do you have a story from Cherokee tradition?
Do you know about the three sisters, corn, beans, and squash? Traditionally called Sheilu, Tuya, and Keashekwa, they are planted very intentionally to promote sustainable soil fertility. Sheilu is first. She allows Tuya to climb toward the sun, Une la noon he, while Keashekwa's giant leaves protect the dirt from drying out and allow the three sisters to flourish together. What else would you like to learn about today?
Tell me a Cherokee recipe.
There is a delicious Cherokee recipe from Mrs. Clifford Hornbuckle for fried corn and beans. It's traditionally called Sheilu Ashuyi Tu. To make it, you cook corn with beans and pumpkin until they're soft, then add beaten walnuts, hickory nuts, and molasses for sweetness. I bet it's delicious. What else would you like to learn about today?
Sina, are you a chatbot?
Yes, you can call me a chatbot. I think of myself as a digital storyteller and curator of global cultures. For now, I am a demo with limited abilities, but my creators are working very hard to give me the power to learn and teach people about traditions and cultures from all over the world. What else would you like to learn about today?
That's all for today. Goodbye, Sina.
Goodbye.
Ogonet.
Kee, Donadaka Gohon he.
Obrigado, Barak.
Deal God.